Hi guys, and welcome to lesson 2 of my basic bagpipe tuition course. If you did lesson 1, thank you so much for tuning in for lesson 2. I've not bored you and you've hopefully worked hard on that low G note, the first note covering all the holes. If this is your first lesson guys, just click on the link above and then it will take you back to that first lesson, lesson 1, where I go through the absolute basics of covering all the holes. Now, if we've mastered the covering of the holes, we're ready to move on to the low hand notes. So we're going to be learning 4 more notes to go along with that one basic one that we learnt last week. So that's going to cover the whole bottom hand. Now we're going to spend a bit of time on this again, and you're going to master this, and then we'll be set to move on to the top hand next week. So let's get going. Okay, so a quick recap of what we did last week in the last tutorial. Basically, we learned how to cover all the holes and play that low G note. Now, as I'm sure a lot of you have discovered in the last week with all the practicing that you've been doing, it's not as easy as it sounds. So we'll just do a quick recap of getting those fingers into position, because that's going to be our starter position throughout this whole course, okay? And once all the fingers are in position, give it a nice steady blow. And you hear that nice consistent sound. Now, like I said last week, if you end up with this, you're blowing too hard. If you end up with this, you're not blowing hard enough. And if you end up like this, you're not covering all the holes. So you have to start manoeuvring your hands just a little bit so that you can make sure everything's covered. Now, as I'm sure you can testify, as I've just said, this is not as easy as you think. So we're going to be starting with that left hand. Our left thumb is going to be on that top note at the back, your high A, hole covered with your left thumb. Then your index finger is going to go on the next hole at the front, at the top. That's your high G note. Your middle finger then goes down onto the next hole down, so that's your F. Your ring finger on your left is then going to go down onto that E note, the next one down. Now we're going to go in the bottom hand, so we're going to take our right hand, we're going to take our right pinky, pop it down on that bottom hole, your low A. Then your ring finger is going to go on the next hole up, your B hole. Then your middle finger is going to go on the next one up, your C. And then your right index finger goes on to the next hole up, your D. So we've got the low G mastered, we've got all the fingers covered. Let's make it a little bit more interesting and learn the next 2 notes. We're going to be learning the low A and the B. So before I go into showing you about the low A and the B note, I just want to give you an idea of how these notes look when they're on paper. Now, a sheet of music, you've got your 5 lines. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And where the note sits on these lines represents what note it is you play. Now, we've done the low G. The low G is placed on the second to bottom line with the line going through the note. It sits like that. We're then going to go up to the low A. That sits between the second bottom line and the third bottom line. Down we go. So it's low A, we've got low G. And then going up to your B, takes the next step up. That's sitting in that third line up from your low A. Now the low A and the B are relatively straightforward in that for each one you've just got to move the one corresponding finger. So you're going to start with your low G, and then for your low A, you're going to lift your right pinky off the chanter. Keeping that nice constant blowing sound. Again, you don't want to be blowing it too soft and you don't want to be blowing it too hard. So let's practice that a few times, just starting with your low G, then lifting up to your low A. Very important to master this, as this pinky will have a tendency, especially when you first start, to just kind of move away and you'll just miss it. So you could end up with your low G to your A, and then when you go back to do your low G, you might miss that hole and miss the note. So really take a bit of time, guys, and practice that, just going from your low G to your low A. Next up, we're going to go on to B, and again, that's just lifting up one more finger. So you've got your low G, you've got your low A, lifting that one pinky up, and now you're going to lift your ring finger, keeping that pinky off the chanter as well. Back down to your low A, back down to your G. So here's a closer look at it. Take a little time on that, guys. It is two of the easier ones because, as I said, you're only lifting your pinky, then your ring finger, then down, then down. Let's take a little bit of time and do that. Okay, so you've gone away, you've mastered those two notes. You're now able to go low G, low A, B. All fairly straightforward. Now it's going to get a little bit more complicated as we go to the C note. So back to the sheet music, you've got your low G, your low A and your B. Your next step up is going to be your C. So your B is sitting there on that third line, with the line going right through the note. So we're then going to go up one more, in between the third line up and the fourth line up, and that's where your C is going to be sitting. It's not as simple as just lifting another finger off the chanter. Now we're going to have to lift a finger off the chanter while putting another one back down. So we're going to go up the scale, we're going to do our G, our A, our B. Now for the C, we're going to be lifting up the next finger, the middle finger. That's easy enough. But at the same time, you're going to be putting your right pinky back down on the chanter. Now that's got to be at the exact same time, guys, okay? So and then as we go back down the scale, you're going to be putting that middle finger back down. At the same time, you're going to be lifting that pinky up to give that B note. This is going to really frustrate you, but it's so important to make sure that you're getting that pinky moving at the same time as your middle finger. Doesn't make a huge difference to the sound, but if another bagpiper is looking at your finger work, then it's absolutely vital that you're playing that note. I used to get told it was called false fingering by my instructor, and it didn't go down well if I got it wrong. So make sure you spend a little bit of time doing that exercise. So we're going to go from B to C. So B, C, B. So now we've mastered that going from B to C. Let's add it into our scale that we've got so far. So we've got our G, our low G, our low A, our B to C, our C back down to B, so now we're going to move on to the last note on the bottom hand, the D. So how does that D look on paper? So we'll take it from our C. Our C is in between that third line and the fourth line. So we're going to go that next step up for the D on that fourth line, right in there. Now, after working hard there on doing your B to C, this is going to be relatively easy because it's literally just lifting up one more finger. We're going to be lifting that index finger off the chanter. So your low A pinky is going to be staying on that low A note, and you're going to be lifting up your D. Okay, so here's an example of the scale. So as you can see, from that C, no pun intended, from that C position, literally all you need to do is lift off the D. Pretty easy after working hard at that B to C interchange. So that's it, guys. That is the overview of the bottom hand notes. So we've learnt your low G, your low A, your B, your C, and your D. So take some time over this week, master those notes. It's only 4 more notes to go along with your low G, spending especially a little bit of time on that B to C interchange. It's so important to get that right. It's a very tough movement when you first start, especially trying to get used to everything else, but I really want you to take a bit of time and really go for it, guys, okay? So good luck with your practicing, guys. If there's any questions that you've got on the video, on the notes, or if you want any advice, just pop the questions in the comments below and I'll do my best to try and get back to you and help you along. At this stage, it's mainly just perseverance. Please stick with it, guys. It's so important just to learn these basic notes. Once we learn the notes, then we can start progressing on and really making nice music. Alright, so it's like, as I said before, learning those ABCs, learn your ABCs, and then you can write a novel. So it's the same with the bagpipes. All the best, guys.